No, it's a little bit different, but I will say this. I'm excited to see all of you guys. I know some of you guys don't believe that, but I actually really miss some of you guys having a chance to have a little face to face with you and being able to meet in the Dale Center. Obviously, we know these are different times, and I think we all have had to adjust to it. Um, that being said, let's move more towards my team. Really excited about our guys. We ended up getting our guys in the second part of summer school, and we've been working since then. And I like our potential. I love our guys. I love the fact that we've got a older group on the back end, and then we've got some younger guys. Five guys, and then five new guys. And then when you talk about Sebron, that makes six. But we're working extremely hard. I finally got a team that I really like that we can play, at least maybe 9 or 10 guys and then play guys at multiple positions. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to see us at full strength. Obviously, we know that there could be some challenges throughout the year, but some guys have really stepped up. You're going to see different bulk on some guys. Manny has put on some weight, some very good weight. Jericho has done the same thing. A guy like DJ Funderburg, we've worked a lot at playing a little 4 and 5. And so hopefully you'll have a chance to see him play some perimeter stuff. And then our two veteran guards have been really good for us. Braxton Beverly has been a tremendous leader, and Devin Daniels has stepped up, and we're hoping that we can get the same Devin Daniels that we saw at the end of the year. So excited about it. We're continuing to work with our schedule. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to know where we are with scheduling. Obviously, when the NCAA moved the date back when we can start, it's kind of thrown us off a little bit. So we've had to reschedule and do some different stuff. So look forward to seeing all you guys at some capacity, hopefully during the game. Hopefully we get to a point where we can have a bunch of fans and we can meet live. But if not, then I'll be talking to you Zoom throughout the entire year. So questions?
Aaron Beard, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin. It's been a while. The last time we saw you would have been in Greensboro last March. I was curious with the off season being altered, normal routines, workouts, sort of what were you guys able to do, or how much do you think you were able to accomplish in compared to like a normal off season of what you'd want to do to be ready for this fall?
Yeah, Aaron. As you always start off, you got a great question there. It was where the off season hurt us a little bit is we normally would have 8 weeks in the summer to work with our new guys. Our older guys, it doesn't affect as much because I think those guys could use a little rest instead of going the 8 weeks. We had the alter stuff. I didn't have a chance to work with, especially our guards, Cam Hayes and Shaquille Moore for the entire 8 weeks. Now, when they moved the season back, we kind of got that back a little bit. But we've been doing individual workouts. We started off, getting a lot of shots up. We worked our way up to some 2-on-2, then 3-on-3 because obviously the contact tracing. And just last week we were able to start some 5-on-5 stuff. And I like our team. I like the way we're working. Our guys are working extremely hard. The great thing about freshmen is they don't know what they don't know. So right now they're continuing to play hard and they've been bringing it every day. I'm impressed, Aaron, at the fact that, we've got gym rats and I can see our culture kind of changing because, of the 14 guys we have on our roster, I know that 10 or 11 will get in there regardless if the coaches are going to be there. So it's been totally different, but we've kind of been able to catch up a little bit because we were behind in the summer.
I wanted to ask you one follow up. It's most of the sports that have been played have been outdoor, with the safety about the pandemic, though the NBA and the NHL were successful. I guess I'm curious how much you kind of paid really close attention to what the NBA was doing with the bubble. And do you have any concerns about, basically playing more of an indoor sport with the safety protocols and so forth?
Yeah, I do have concerns, and the concerns is, we all are trying to figure out how we're going to pull it off. I think the biggest thing that's affected, that could affect all of us is contact tracing. We're trying to figure out how it's going to work. At this time right now, we're testing once a week, and soon, within the next week or so, we'll go to 3 times a week. And there's a possibility that we could end up at 7 times a week. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen. But a lot of the times when someone is positive for COVID, it hasn't been because of the fact that it happened on the court. It's the things that they do off the court. So obviously being an indoor sports, we are concerned. I thought the NBA did a tremendous job. That being said, they were in a bubble. We've got to try to create a bubble within our own selves on campus, but it's totally different.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Aaron.
Mike Topper.
There we go. Got it. Coach, good to see you.
Hey, Mike.
You look great. Good morning. I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about some of your freshmen. You've got some, definitely some talented guys like Cam, Shaquille, and others coming in. Can you just tell us what you expect out of some of those guys coming into the new season?
Well, I want to take this time, Mike, to first brag about those guys in the classroom. They've been tremendous. When you look at those guys, I think I told Jeff Gravely the other day, I think they are all above a 3.0, maybe even towards a 3.5. So they've come in and as a freshman group, they've been very focused on their academics is what you really want. I've always felt like any guys that can perform in the classroom would do great for you on the basketball court. Talent-wise, I'm excited about them. It's a big class. And then once again, if you add Sebron to it, it even makes it a bigger class. But guys have worked extremely hard. I like what Cam Hayes has brought to the table. He's a guy with a tremendous IQ as a basketball player. He's going to be really good for us. Both him and Shaquille Moore have the ability to play together at times. Both of them are capable of playing the point and the shooting guard. And I think you're going to see a lot of that from both of those guys. Cam's a little bit further along because he's played more point than anybody, and he's doing a tremendous job. As you know, as we touch on Shaquille Moore, tremendous athlete, probably our best on-the-ball defender in our program. He does a tremendous job affecting the game on the defensive end. Is starting to get a little bit more confident in his shot. Cam's done a tremendous job in that area because he's making shots behind the three-point line, and also he's a great 1-2 dribble pull-up guy. And what we're trying to get him to do is be more effective, really getting to the backboard. And then you get into, the bigger guys, the Nick Farrars, who is going to be really good. At his size, he's going to play a little 4 and then possibly some 3. But he's a guy that's had to get in great shape, as we talked about. One of the things with him is making sure that he can play to our style by obviously getting in great shape, watching what he's eating, and changing his entire body. But he's a guy, when you think about what he did in high school, can really score the basketball. So he's going to be a really good basketball player for us. And then I also love our 2 young post guys, Jalen Gibson and E.B. Dewana. Man, they are sponges. Those guys are active. Jalen Gibson has a nose for the basketball. He offensive rebounds everything. He's a guy that's going to play a little 4 and 5 for us. When you think of Jalen Gibson, think of a younger DJ Funderburg that's got a chance to be really talented, can handle the ball on the break and step out and shoot threes. And then EB, think of a younger Manny Bates, block shots. He's a physical presence, nice body, can score around the basket. It's going to be really good. So those guys are I'm excited about them. And then, not to forget Darion Sebron, because I always consider him a freshman. He's a guy who's talented, who can play kind of 1, 2, and 3. And in a pinch, we can play him as a small guard, as a 4 if we go 4-guard lineup. Really good at getting to the paint. Maybe our best paint touch guy that we have. We're continuing to work on him with his offside shot, making sure he gets a lot of confidence in that area. But I love the class, and I love the class for a lot of reasons. Those guys have come in with an unbelievable approach. They're really good friends off the court. They all compete every day, and they have a chance to be really good in this NC State uniform.
Andrew Schnittker.
Hey, Kevin. Hope you're doing well. Came out, I think it was last month, that the ACC coaches were the ones who had tabled that proposal for the NCAA tournament to be all-inclusive this year, and you had released your statement about that. Can you just kind of take me through the thought process for that and why that makes sense in a year like this?
Yeah, Andrew, everybody, I think our coaches around the country, I wouldn't say got beat up on it, but I think a lot of people weighed in on it and kind of disagreed with it without anybody really understanding what was behind it. And so I want you to think about this now. The NCAA came out and they said, in order to be qualified for the tournament, you got to play 13 games. Well, we don't have a bubble. If you take any section of our schedule, let's say December, and for whatever reason, our teams have to shut down for 14 to 21 days. The advantage that football had is they had a couple of weeks built in to substitute some games if they lost the games. If you lose a game in the ACC and your players have to sit out for 14 to 21 days, when my schedule is released, I want you to pick out any 14 to 21 days, and there's a possibility that you may lose 4 or 5, maybe even 6 games. And so what we try to do is take the gamemanship away from it. Also, let's reward everybody. It's an unusual year. We're doing unusual things in COVID 2020. And so instead of, throwing it out there that said, you have to do this, how about let everybody in the tournament? And I think it was a way that it could have been done. We play the NIT. A lot of teams play the CBI. There's CIT. And so why not add an extra week to it, maybe even playing the home games or the higher seed at home and trying to figure out everything else and then get down to a 60-18 tournament. And that's kind of what's the thought behind it. Think about this now. If you get down to the end of the year and, for example, if we're playing great basketball and we know we're going to make the tournament, and then we're going to play against a team that has no chance to make the tournament, what kind of basketball does that look like at the end? And then do you go into an ACC tournament? Do we have a tournament, first of all? And do you go into a tournament and somehow somebody gets affected or there's a positive COVID test? Does that affect you how you play in the NCAA tournament, which is coming right after the ACC tournament? So it was a lot of thought. It was a lot of conversation. I thought it was a tremendous idea. And I thought it was a great idea because it was a one-time situation where everybody has a chance to get in. We needed, in this world with sports, we need some good things to happen. I thought it would be a great good story for everyone.
Brett Friedlander?
Yeah, Kevin, where do you stand heading into the start of practice at the point guard position, and how does Thomas Allen fit into all this?
Yeah, I'm in a good place, guys, with, I feel like I'm a football coach because everybody's wondering who the starting quarterback's going to be. In my situation, I've got several guys that I feel comfortable that can play the point, a couple freshmen, or actually 3 when you add Sebron. I'm going to keep adding him to that freshman group. But Braxton Beverly has played a lot of point for us in his career. When you look at Thomas Allen is a combo guard who can really score the basketball. But he's had some moments at Nebraska where he's played the point. And so I feel very confident with whoever we roll out and play that position. That guy won't be on an island. I typically, because of when you look at Markel Johnson and also Braxton Beverly, we typically put 2 guys on the court that can handle the basketball at the same time or share those duties. And I like our guys. You're going to see early on, you're going to see a lot of guys playing a position. Cam Hayes is going to have the opportunity. Shaquille's going to have the opportunity. Darion Sebron, and then obviously the 2 veteran guys who can really shoot the ball, and Thomas Allen and Braxton Beverly. I would love to keep them off the point, but if I need to, they're capable of playing it.
How's Braxton's health? Is his back okay now?
Man, that's a great question, man. Braxton's my age now. Well, he and I played high school together. I tease him about that all the time. His health is fine. He's in practice, and people will be glad, Wolfpack Nation will be glad to hear that he's shooting the ball well and he's been in practice. But that being said, because he's my age, I have to take some days off where I can't go out there and I can't exercise as much. So we're going to be very careful with him.
Does he still have the beard?
No beard. We got rid of the beard. You'll get a chance to see today. And if it's a beard today, then he added it on.
Thanks, Kevin.
Well, that's the growth from the weekend.
Sammy Batten.
He's got a little beard, but not when I think of beard, I'm thinking about the beard you're thinking about. We don't want to get to that point again.
Even if he shoots 50% from three?
Yeah, but we went through that. He didn't. So that's over.
Yeah, Kevin, Manny Bates obviously played great defense for you last year. What's kind of the next step in his development in your mind?
Yeah, Manny Bates, and it was mind-boggling to me that Manny Bates didn't make an all-defensive team. I mean, I would have voted him as Defensive Player of the Year. How many times have you seen a guy lead the ACC and not make a team in shot blocks? But he's coming along offensively. He's starting to get a lot more confidence around the basket. His development has been really, really, really huge for us this summer. He's starting to believe in himself. You know, you think about his shoulder and what he went through, and he was a little timid. And he and I talked about this offensively, you know, being careful the way he's hit and position himself so he doesn't get hit hard. He's starting to play through contact. He's starting to not worry about his shoulder as much, and he's starting to become an offensive threat where we can throw the ball to him in the post.
Does his technique as a shot blocker remind you of anybody that you've seen or coached?
God, man, when we recruited him, I told my assistant coaches, man, I was like, he's going to lead the ACC in shot blocks, and they was like, no way. And he did it his first year playing. He's got great timing. You know, one of the things that I talked about is I love the fact that he's blocked all of those shots. That's a good thing. The problem I'm having is it a good thing because that means our guards are getting beat off the dribble a lot, and he's having to, you know, I don't want him. I want him to lead the league in shot blocks, but I also want him to play more minutes. So I don't need those guys to, you know, I don't need those guys to get beat off the dribble where he's having to block shots all the time, you know.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jonas Pope.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Jonas, how are you?
I'm doing well. You talk a lot about guys playing multiple positions and having different combos on the floor and guys who can do a lot of different things. In this age of positionless basketball, is this your best roster where you can have guys who can be versatile and switch out and play that positionless basketball that so many different people are doing nowadays?
It's our most versatile roster that we've had. And I wish it was a perfect 2020 because now I would feel confident that on every given night, you'll finally get a chance to see our system fully implemented. Obviously, we're prepared, and I shouldn't say prepared. We know that we're going to have some challenges just because everybody else will. But that being said, Jonas, I love our roster. I love our versatility. I love the fact that guys can play multiple positions. I like our veteran guys. Our veteran guys have kind of been, you know, tested through ACC play. And then our younger guys, the tough thing about this is that we don't have a scrimmage or exhibition this year. We have to go right into playing. And so that's the toughest thing. So I don't have time to give our young guys a little chance to play in an exhibition game in front of a few fans or a scrimmage. They're going to get thrown right in the fire. And so we've got to create that in practice situations.
Who would you say is the most versatile guy on the roster who can play maybe 1 through 4 or even 1 through 5? I don't know if you have a 1 through 5 guy, but the most versatile guy you have.
Yeah, I would say probably the most versatile guy would be Darion Sebron because of his height. You know, he can play 1, 2, 3, and if we go small ball, he can play 4. But he's the guy that's probably, you know, best suited for that. The next one would probably be Jericho because Jericho, you know, if we put him on the wing, he can play kind of a 2-3 and then into a 4 situation. And he can also play 5 if we had to go small inside.
Can Nick play 5 if you needed to go that small?
You know, Jonas, I'm not sure yet. I'm still learning that. You know, Jericho, because he knows where to be, it's tough for a freshman to play 5 when you're undersized because more of it's more about positioning. Ask me that in about a month, and I'll be able to answer that better.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.
Corey Smith.
Hey, Coach. I know a lot of times you like to talk about the preseason expectations for this team. Obviously, the overall rankings and things like that for preseason haven't come out, but some early ones have put NC State right around the 10th or 11th spot in the ACC. That feels you're talking about this being the most experienced roster and the roster that you feel is the most versatile that you've had here. Do you feel like that's a really low bar for this team? And what do you think that's attributed to?
Well, Corey, first of all, thank you for wearing that teal a little bit today. Takes me back to my UNC Wilmington days, and you just teed me up to congratulate Devontae Cacok for winning a ring with the Lakers. He's a kid that we recruited that didn't have any high major offers, and now obviously he's NBA champion, which is great. That being said, I don't get caught into rankings. I don't know where they're going to rank because I don't even know how you rank anybody. It's going to be a different year because there's a chance that you're going to play some games without some of your better players. I like my roster. I don't know if it's my most experienced roster overall, but I do have at least 4 or 5 guys that are experienced, and then I got some young guys. So it's a different type of roster. But that being said, we'll listen. We'll pay attention to where people will rank us, and we'll figure it out at the end. That's what it is. I've always been excited about the fact that at the end of the year, we can have a chance to look and see where people say we will finish and where we will finish. So I'm excited about that, and my guys will be too once I remind them about that.
And kind of a follow-up to that, it feels like some of that is attributed to the fact that Markel Johnson is no longer on the roster. How much different was it for you? This is the first time you've walked into the start of a camp without Markel Johnson as the lead point guard for this team.
Well, it's different, but we experienced it last year. If you remember, he wasn't with us in the summertime because he was obviously going through the pre-draft stuff, trying to figure out where he was at. That being said, Markel Johnson had a very good career for us. Where I think we'll miss him more than anything is that it's hard to deny the couple years that he had where he led the ACC in assists. But I'm not asking any of these guys to be Markel Johnson or C.J. Bryce. I want them to do it in a different way. They have to do it their way and the way we need them to do it. So that being said, those 2 guys were good players for us. And we're grateful that they both played and stayed, and we're seniors and had good senior years for us. But that being said, it gives other guys great opportunities to step in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Todd Gibson.
Hey, Coach, a guy you talked about a little bit earlier, a local kid who's maybe kind of flying under the radar right now, Thomas Allen. What did he use his transfer year really well for you guys? I know he sat on the bench and learned a lot of stuff. And what can we expect out of him? A veteran presence, I guess that helps to have a veteran presence. What can we kind of expect out of him this year?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people have forgotten about him. When you think about, just look at his last 3 years, went to Brewster Academy, same place that TJ Warren went, probably has a leading scoring average there, put up a lot of numbers, and then went out to Nebraska and really averaged in the last couple of years somewhere around, 7 to 10 points a game, not quite as high as 10. But what makes him unique is his ability to score the basketball. A lot of people are going to look at him as a shooter. I look at him as a guy that can score at all different levels. And I'm excited about him. I hope people don't talk about him. He can make shots. He's a guy that can get hot in a quick moment, similar to Vinny Johnson, the microwave. I don't want all you guys saying, Coach just said that Thomas Allen was Vinny Johnson, but that's the way he scores the basketball. And I like it. He'll play different roles for us. You're going to see him play some 1. You're going to see him play some 2. I like it because he's older. He brings some leadership to the table also.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the last question for Coach Keatts will come from Matt Carter.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Matt, how you?
Good. I'm going to ask you about a few of your veterans. What are you kind of hoping and expecting out of your fifth-year seniors who decided to come back, Devin Daniels and DJ Funderburk? And also, what kind of improvements are you expecting out of Jericho Helms now that he's got a couple years under the belt?
Yeah, I want our fifth-year guys to be fifth-year guys. I want them to play like older guys, but I don't want them to think that they've got to take the entire team on their shoulders. And that's one of the things we've talked about with these guys. Just play within yourself, show some leadership, bring the young guys along, help those guys get better, and also work on getting better in different areas. With DJ, we want him to get better shooting the ball behind the three-point line. Last year. And so we're going to play him at the 4 spot. He's got to improve those type of spots. Braxton Beverly, we talked about earlier, he's a guy that he has to stay healthy as much as we can. But he's got to be able to play some point guard if we need to, because we do have some young guys. And then Devin Daniels, Devin Daniels, I don't want him to think that he has to do so much. I wanted to be the Devin Daniels that, played last year, that at the end of the year, he was a really, really good basketball player. That's the part that I'm looking for. And then tell me what your second part of the question was again. If you remember, see, we both forgot.
Yeah, Jericho Helms.
Oh, there you go. See, you almost forgot that too.
I'm getting old too.
Jericho Helms, I told Jeff Gravely, he's like our tight end. That kid's gotten better pretty much every year. He's the way you want a guy to progress throughout the years. Went from a freshman year, got better as a sophomore, and then we're hoping to have a really good breakthrough year as a junior. He was playing as well a basketball as anybody in the ACC, obviously before he took that nasty fall over at Wake Forest. And he's good. You'll see some opportunities for him to play the small forward this year. You'll see him playing power forward this year. But he's added on some bulk. He's really done a great job of working on his ball handling. Because if he's going to be a perimeter guy, I told him one of the things you got to get better at is making decisions and handling the basketball. And he's actually put in some work with that area.
Thanks, Coach.